Hi everyone, Joe Gentili from Left Tail Risk Advisors. In this video, I want to go through why we founded Left Tail and why we think it's a good idea for clients to work with us. So I feel really strongly that at Left Tail, we bring a unique set of skills and a unique perspective to life insurance that doesn't exist anywhere else. Life insurance is a complex area. Insurance is a complex area, but life insurance may be the most complex of them. And life insurance exists within a lot of different moving parts. So, in order to really understand life insurance, you need to be able to read and explain a very complex legal contract, which is a policy. You need to understand the legal context that people own life insurance in. So, do they own it in trusts? What's the creditor protections around it? You have to understand something about the tax implications of having life insurance and what tax problems life insurance can help solve. You need to understand some investment math about how cash value works. You need to understand some actuarial math. A lot of different disciplines and areas to understand. It's very complex. And the consequence of going forward with a life insurance transaction or foregoing life insurance, the consequences of that can be very dramatic. It could be very catastrophic if you get that decision wrong, if you don't have insurance when you should have it, or you have the wrong type of insurance. And we have a unique skill set to guide people through the best decision making around insurance. And we have a unique perspective as to why it's so important. So, first, with the skill set, I would say that the vast majority of people in the life insurance business that are advisors don't understand all the different dimensions of insurance that I had just gone through. I would say 90+% do not. There is, of course, a percentage of advisors out there that are fantastic, and they do. And one thing a lot of them have in common is they have education in the area, and we have that as well. So, like these other advisors, the other top advisors that are out there, I'm a chartered life underwriter, so I have, as far as I can tell, the highest designation for life insurance professionals that the industry offers, which is a CLU. I'm a chartered long-term care. I have a long-term care designation as well, so that also would put me at least educationally in that top bracket. So we share that DNA in common with the existing pool of life insurance folks. There's a smaller subset of folks that have legal experience. They have exposure as to an education around how trusts are formed, and just the legal framework that life insurance exists within. And that's a huge advantage. So that's another small slice that we're in. But probably where we're unique in terms of our skill set is I'm not aware of another life insurance advisor or advisory where the principals have experience litigating life insurance cases. So myself and my partner, we have over 20 years of experience litigating complex legal issues. A chunk of that time was spent specifically litigating life insurance issues. We're litigating presently and have in the past litigated life insurance issues that have to deal with holding carriers responsible for honoring their contracts with policyholders, with holding carriers responsible for the marketing and representations that they're making during the sales process. We've collectively spent thousands of hours looking at this. And so, through that critical lens that we're looking at the life insurance industry, we really get a sense as to how those contracts work, how the marketing works, how the carriers think about these things. So, it's a real unique perspective that you just wouldn't have unless you're in the situation of litigating these cases. The other thing that litigation gives us is perspective. One area where we have unique perspective is I'm confident that just about more than any other person in the life insurance space, I'm familiar, probably too familiar, with what it looks like when the planning fails, when the wrong policy is put in place to solve a problem, when a policy lapses later in life because it was improperly explained and improperly funded to stay in force. The consequences could be catastrophic for people that have a plan in place that they're relying on and religiously funding for decades, and the policy lapses when they're in retirement. And honestly, aside from some litigation um, solutions that frankly nobody wants to rely on, there's really not much they can do at that point. It's just frankly a financial disaster for them, and it could be a disaster for taking care of the obligations that they plan for. So I haven't seen this happen once or twice. I've seen it happen many times. So that perspective is etched in my brain, and it's etched in my partner's brain. And so we're very aware of the importance of getting it right at the beginning, because not only do we have the knowledge of how to do that, and to be fair, there's other people that have knowledge on how to do that as well, but we're really aware of the consequences of when it goes wrong. So what that does is it gives us a really conservative planning philosophy around insurance. I know that a lot of life insurance is sold on the potential upside of how this can look later on if things go really well and all these assumptions are made, and they show these illustrations showing these rosy results, and that's great. Um, the reality is that those results are probably not going to happen, at least as rosy as they're presented. But more importantly, in my opinion, it's not the primary reason that people should be getting insurance. People should be getting insurance as a backstop, as a security, to plan for when something goes wrong. You have this financial safety net and backstop. And I don't think insurance is positioned frequently enough for that very basic purpose. So we have a lot of knowledge in this space from a lot of different perspectives. We understand what it looks like when things go poorly, and we're very committed to prevent that from happening using conservative planning principles. The other thing that we have that I think is distinct is there's a sense of ethics if you work with us that's pretty rare. And that ethics is informed by practicing as an attorney for so many years, where the training and the ingraining from law school on forward is to act in the client's best interests, is to put the client's needs ahead of your own. And for us, that ports into how we view insurance planning. New York, unlike any other state in the country, at least that I know of, has a best interest standard. So life insurance professionals in New York are supposed to operate when placing insurance in their clients' best interests. So that puts on additional layers of compliance and explaining to clients that I know a lot of companies and agents in New York really bristle against, and they view it as a necessary evil and a bare minimum to deal with on the road to selling a product. We don't view it that way. Our natural standard with regards to ethics is already working with the client's best interest. So these things, even if that law wasn't there, we have that mindset that if you're going to work with us, if you're going to trust us with planning for protecting you and your family in these situations that people buy insurance to protect against, um, we're going to act in your best interest. That is far too important a responsibility to simply look at as a transactional interaction and not focus on what's best for you in that situation. So New York law mandates that. And even if you're not going to work with us, I really think it's worth it to work with an agent in New York for that reason. But we really look at that as not just a requirement that's a pain to get around, but it's really a guiding orientation that we want to work with people's best interests. There's a subset of people out there that I think we're particularly well suited to work with. Um, so in addition to all of the skills that I've mentioned before, we've also spent a lot of time working with international clients in the immigration and investment context. So as attorneys, we've worked a lot with people that have family in multiple countries. They have assets in multiple countries. They're moving back and forth between countries. Obviously, there's legal issues that we've advised people on and represented them on related to that. This also raises a lot of complexity with regards to life insurance and estate planning. So you're not just dealing at that point with US law. You have to be mindful that there's law in the other countries where the person may be a citizen or where they live or where they have family or assets. You have to be cognizant and um, plan around that. And so that exposure to that is something that very, very few people in the life insurance space are aware of and can competently speak to. And we have that. So that's another group and another situation where I think our experience is not just valuable, but it's unique. So that's pretty much what I have to say on the topic for now. I hope I've laid out why we founded Left Tail Risk Advisors, because I do think that we provide a unique value to clients that work with us. I don't think there's anybody else like us in the space. And I hope I've also laid out why I think you should at least consider working with us on your insurance need, particularly your life insurance needs. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. And as always, I encourage you to like and subscribe for future videos. Thank you.